Hi guys, welcome back
Hello,
to Art Time with Miss Kelly or Mrs. Humphrey and
Molly.
Molly, my lovely assistant. We are glad to be here to do another art project with you guys. The school year is winding down. I can't believe it.
2 more weeks.
2 more weeks.
I don't want school to end, to be
I
honest.
know, but maybe you're watching this over the summertime when you have time to do art, and that's great too. So, um, either way, we will hopefully see you guys in the fall at the school. And if you see me at the school or somewhere, I'll always be glad to say hello.
You better
and,
say hello back.
and you better say hello back. So, I hope you guys are enjoying making artwork. And these are fun projects, but there's all kinds of other places you can go to find art projects to do as well. You can just look up art projects for kids online and you'll find all kinds of really fun ideas. So hopefully if you are running out of my videos, you can find other artworks that you can do as well. So today I'm going to share with you guys a new artist, and this is an artist who I when I was a girl and I grew up and I saw her artwork and I recognized it, and it was someone who I always really liked the stuff that she did, and I saw it both in books that she illustrated as well as some other places, which I will show you in a minute. Okay, the artist we're talking about is Mary Blair. So here's a picture of her working in her studio. She was an illustrator. She started as a painter. So first of all, she was born in 1911, so over 100 years ago. She died in the 70s, so she's not alive anymore. She went to school in Southern California to be an artist and study painting. She met her husband there, who was also an artist, and they worked together for throughout their life. They ended up. She's pretty recognized as a watercolor painter in her own right, and ended up getting a job with the Walt Disney animation company. Walt Disney Company, working as an animator, and an art director, and so she helped with the concept artwork and which means like when Walt Disney or any company starts making a idea for a new movie or a new whatever it is. They'll first sort of just gather together all kinds of ideas for that art, for that movie or that production. And so she did some early drawings for Cinderella, and even though they didn't use some of her artwork for that, they did use but a lot of her color schemes and some of her background and sort of her and some of the stylizations, they were really influenced by her artwork. She also worked on Peter Pan and Alice in Wonderland, and
Ooh,
and especially
Disney stud.
I know, and especially in Alice in Wonderland, where it's super whimsical and bright and colorful.
My eyes.
That is where she was very influential in that movie. So she worked for Disney, working as an animator, and then decided she wanted to do some of her own work, and started working as a graphic designer and for doing freelance work on her own. But was still friends with Walt Disney. And so in the 60s, when Walt Disney had the opportunity he was working on a new ride concept and a new exhibit, he was working with the idea of It's a Small World, and thought of her style and thought it would be a perfect fit for what he wanted to create. And so he called her up, and she was very thrilled and glad to work on that project. And so if you look at this is one of her concept drawings for the ride of It's a Small World.
That looks like it.
And you can see how they really stayed true to her ideas and her designs in that ride. And when you look at this picture of these buildings, and first you might just look and see shapes and stuff, but if you look closely, you can see all kinds of influences from different buildings around the world.
We have the pinned wheel thing. What is that?
Yeah, windmill.
Windmill. A little Chinese house.
Yeah, a little like Japanese or pagoda, and you see here an Eiffel Tower. You see some sort of
Trying to look at it backwards.
some Russian sort of stylized building tops here, and you can see sort of South American styling here. But this is a artwork where she's using architectural elements from all over the world to sort of display together in a unified unified piece. And that's sort of the idea of the ride. It's a small world. And I thought it was an important thing to talk about.
Right now.
Talk about right now. There's a lot of things that are going on in the world that where voices are being asked to be heard, and it's important that we listen, and we listen to what is going on. And this ride, and It's a Small World, they took that idea of that every child has a voice that needs to be heard, and that we're not so different one from another, and I thought that was just an important idea for right now, that it's important to listen to others, and important to listen especially to those voices of people who, and cultures and races who are not traditionally given an opportunity to be heard. And so this is an important time where we have an obligation and importance to listen and to be part of the conversation that's going on. So I thought this idea that it's a small world, and the idea of children's voices and listening was important to talk about a little bit. But we're going to do our own Mary Blair style building. So I thought this would be kind of a fun project. Getting a little cold. I know, it needs to be a little bit sunnier out, I think. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to start with idea paper, and
my idea paper's looking a little wonky.
Yeah.
What is that?
Mine always look a little wonky on here. Okay, so Molly and I both have, we're each going to do our own project here. So
no, mine has a dip. Wee.
I know, it's funny. So so you'll have your own paper for your idea paper, and then we'll do a final paper on a nicer piece of paper.
Nice paper.
Yeah, no, not that small.
It's like.
So we're just going to kind of doodle on here, but you take your own paper and do your own doodles.
Doodle.
So what we're going to do is we're going to make our own sort of geometric, colorful castle. Okay. And we'll start with just, Molly's jumping ahead, but we're going to start with just drawing squares and boxes. Now, if you want to start with a grid like this, you can. Or if you can start like Molly is, where she's just starting to pile on boxes on top of each other. Now I'm going to make some more shapes here. Maybe I'll take some of these lines out and create.
Oh my gosh, those wonky.
And maybe I'll add some more.
Mom, look at this. It's leaning down some.
Oh well. I'm gonna put some more boxes up here.
Kings and queens can live with it, right, Mom?
Yes, they can. And you can just decide. You can just start adding shapes and adding boxes on top of each other. Okay. And then once you get your squares and your shapes in there, then we're going to start adding some architectural elements. So we're going to start looking at, like Mary Blair has all these different kinds of rooftops, and arches here on the bottom to show. Sorry. To show doorways or entrances and windows. So this is where we get to have fun and start adding patterns and roofs and all kinds of stuff. So I'm going to
put a flag.
I'm going to add some rooftop elements here. Maybe this one's going to be rounded. Maybe this is kind of a rooftop here too, so I'm going to add another shape there.
Do you like my flag?
Okay, and then I'm going to add some arches in the bottom.
Ooh, I'm going to do something like a
really big arch here.
I'm
going to add some windows.
Oh, my eyes.
And I'm just using basic shapes. And so you're going to start adding, just adding shapes in there, however you want to.
Oh gosh, you're a lot faster than I am.
Well, you know. And so I'm just adding a bunch of different shapes in there, which are just kind of fun. And then, once you get your shapes in there, then we're going to start adding patterns. And you can add a different pattern to every single shape on there. Or you can do repeated patterns, or however you want to do. Should just be a fun project where you can just start doodling and adding stuff in there.
Whoa, what is that?
Well, that's crazy. Okay, so I'm going to put
I'm
going to put some polka dots in here. I think I'm going to do a sort of checkerboard grid.
I'm going to put one of these.
Maybe put some patterns in.
Maybe have like a triangle at the bottom of it.
You can add maybe some stripes. Maybe some stripes this way here. I'm going to add some more stripes here.
Ooh, stripes. I'm going to add some stripes. I'm going to add a big doorway here.
Yeah, I like that.
Some flowers.
Anyway, just start thinking about what kind of shapes and patterns you want to add. And just keep adding it to your whole entire thing. If you want to put a sun in there, you can put a sun up at the top. And you can see how, there's not a right or wrong way. Molly's looks very different than mine. But hers is also going to look really cool when she starts adding colors and things. So that's your next step. Your next step is you're going to take this idea paper and you're going to transfer it to a nice finished piece of paper, so a nicer piece of paper. And you're going to start adding color. Now, in this picture by Mary Blair, she has a limited color scheme, which means she's just chosen a few colors to sort of for her palette to do the whole picture. And so there's actually only 4 colors in this artwork. You can choose to just choose 4 colors and do a limited color scheme. She also did a lot of more bright colored stuff. So if you really want to use like every color of the rainbow, you can.
Rainbow Castle, woo woo woo!
This is your project. You can do it however you want to, and whatever you think would be more fun. Okay, this is another one of her artworks where she has again used a little bit more color, but it's still kind of limited to 6 or 7 colors. So, but another one where you can see sort of this idea of adding colors and shapes and patterns.
I mean, if I had any flowers on yours.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna put some flower shapes in there.
And
maybe inside of there, maybe here.
For the whole video, we're just sitting here drawing our own thing.
I know. I could do this all day. Keep adding colors and patterns and make designs. Anyway, so have fun making artwork, and hopefully maybe you'll make 2 or 3 of these castles because they are really fun to make. And
this is the last project.
No, I'll do another one.
Okay,
yeah.
good.
But ta-da! Almost. So have fun making your stuff. Oh, that's really cool.
It hurts my eyes.
Yeah.
Too many blues. Yours is calm. Mine's
I'll probably use markers for mine because I've really been enjoying using markers. But you could also use color pencils or crayons, whatever you want, to add in your color to your artwork. So
maybe
have fun.
Paint.
Have fun making artwork, and I will see you guys next time.
Hey, you stole what I was gonna say. Bye.
Bye.